worth whatever it's worth, right? Whoever sells it. Wrong. I'm Charlie. Welcome to Moving Home with Charlie, and thank you for coming.
Charlie Landing grew up in Sussex, is the founder of Best Agent and presenter of Moving Home with Charlie.
If you want to find one of these guys, look out for those compassionate professionals. All estate agents are not the same.
So Charlie, what would be your advice for people interested in buying new builds right now?
Don't overpay. Do buy, but don't overpay. That's why I say disregard the guff. Read into the numbers and look, and it's buried. The bad news is buried in the small print, okay?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Property Press Awards.
They may or may not be telling the truth, but you should form your own view. Get out and view, get out and view, get out and view. You cannot be in a position to make offers and have the offers accepted if you're not viewing. Just be out there viewing. Pay attention to the back of the class. If you've not been watching my videos, I did one just a couple of days ago. Disregard the guff, guys. Good evening, Sunday night. I'm in London. It's incredibly hot, cold water here. I have a fan blowing at me, which is just stopping me from melting completely. Is it too noisy? Is it a pain in the ass? Can you let me know? Tell me in the chat. I'd also want to say a thank you and a welcome to the 2,000 new subscribers I got today just on X, following me from the new build homes snagging videos that I posted, one on Persimmon and one on Taylor Wimpey, both of which have done over 500,000 views each in less than 12 hours today. Seems to really have struck a chord, people. It's actually someone else's content. It's called Housing Snag. I've linked to it anyway, and I put one of them on YouTube. But on the back of all of the outrage about house builders getting off scot-free for price fixing recently, this really did kind of get my goat, and that's why I posted those videos on X. And at the end of the main topic on this video, I'm going to just talk about how I would handle if you are buying a new build. I know a lot of people say never buy a new build. If you are buying a new build, if you find yourself with no choice, or you really want to, or just for whatever reason you're buying a new build, I'm going to just let you know what I would do to minimize the chance of these absolute nightmares that these poor buyers have been having. Thank you, Jack. Says no, sounds fine. Cool. Right. So it occurred to me last week, just after I did 5 Fact Friday, so that was just 2 days ago actually, that, you know, with all the economic news going on and all the talk about is that our house price is going to crash or not, and who's buying up houses and everything going wrong, most people still just want to buy a home and own a home. And it also occurred to me that a lot of first-time buyers find themselves saying, well, whenever I find a home that's in my budget, I'm always outbid by other people. Excuse me. Oh, can't shake this cough off. And in this video, what I want to give you is basically, on top of everything else that I say, the three things that, whether the market is good or bad, going up or going down, fast market, slow market, these are the three things that you must have in order to make sure that you don't overpay no matter what the circumstances are. Okay? And there is no shortcut to this. And these are the three things that you must have all three of them, not just two of them. You've got to have all three. And if you don't have all three, you won't find a house without overpaying, or you won't find a house that you can afford, or you won't get your offer accepted. And you'll end up overpaying. And as per that article on the Independent that I put out on 5 Fact Friday, I think it's 50% of people under 35 regret their first home purchase. So that's a staggering statistic. 50% of people under 35. So the three Ps are, and I was thinking whether or not this applied during, for example, during the pandemic when prices were going through the roof and to the moon. And this is also for people who have decided they want to buy, not rent for whatever reason. This is not a buying versus renting video. That's a separate topic. There are compelling reasons for both depending on your personal circumstances. But this is just about if you've decided you're going to buy, you need to buy, you want to buy. And the three Ps, which I'm going to explain, are this. And this is This is boring but important. And if getting a really good home without overpaying is important to you, then I would say that this is probably one of the most valuable bits of guidance you might ever get from me. So the three P's are patience, persistence, and preparedness. Okay? If you don't have patience and you rush, you will end up overpaying and overlooking things that would have made you think twice and not giving yourself enough time to actually realize, hang on a second, I don't really want this house. You should never, ever, ever, ever buy a home in a hurry. All right? Number 2, persistence. Even the best, most successful property developers get most of their offers rejected. Why? Because on those cases, other people are overpaying, and those property developers who know what the right money is to pay go, well, I'm not paying more than this. It's not worth more than that. If other people want to pay more, that's great. They're going to be overpaying. And you've got to be prepared to walk away and be outbid and be persistent in coming back and keeping on offering. That's the second of the 2 P's, persistence, right? It's going to take a while. You're going to need to look at a lot of properties. You need to make a lot of offers. And number 3 is preparedness. And by that, I mean making sure that when you find a house and you make an offer on it and you want to give yourself the best chance of your offer being accepted, by showing that you are more prepared to proceed and you can move faster than other buyers, massively improves your chances of getting your offer accepted, even when other people might have offered more than you. And I've done whole videos on that, right? Everything you need. You've got to have your proof of deposit funds, your mortgage and principal, your conveyancer lined up, your property search pack lined up, and to demonstrate that you are serious about that property and you can move much faster than any other buyer. Patience, persistence, preparedness. All right? You've got to give yourself time. But if you do those 3 things, you maximize your chances of getting into a home where you go, oh my God, it's amazing. We got a home. Perhaps it's better than you expected it was going to be. Perhaps the price was less than you thought it was going to be. And you just thought it was never going to happen, and you're finally in. And this would apply to people, by the way, even people who aren't looking for a bargain. You're happy to pay a fair price. You just want to get into a home and have your offer accepted. There are no shortcuts to these 3 things, and no amount of data and research is going to help you at all. Okay? Yes, look at what's on the market online. That gives you that's like window shopping, right? It just gives you an idea of what's in the shop window. But you should disregard the prices. But look at how long they've been in the market, that kind of thing. But until you're actually out viewing, and this is where the patience and persistence comes, because you've got to wait until the viewing time and make sure it's obviously a time that you're available, they're available, and you go and do the viewing and it's not a property that you like. So, okay, that's a waste of time. But it isn't a waste of time because you will learn something about the market you want to buy in with every viewing you do. You will create an impression with the estate agent, and that is an opportunity to improve your chances of being called by that agent, right? So you get to meet agents, you get to hear the agents telling you about the market. Agents will almost always volunteer useful snippets of information about the properties you want to see and what's happening. And yes, often they're talking utter guff and you should ignore it. But sometimes you'll get a real gem, a real pearl, something useful that makes you go, hang on, that was worth going to that viewing just to find out a little bit of information. The property that's fallen through, the property that's just gone sold, the property that's come back on the market, why the sellers are selling, why others are selling. You'll pick things up just by being out on viewings. You'll also get a feel for what's actually on the market in the price range you want. And by a feel, I mean a physical feel. You'll turn up, you get a feel for the area, a feel for the house on the inside, the view from the inside outside the house, which you don't normally get from the photographs. So it's never really a wasted viewing. Oh my God, it's so time consuming. It's so time consuming, but there's no way around that. And that's why you need patience. The persistence is after you've been viewing for weeks on end and you just think, oh God, how much longer do we have to do this? You've got to keep going. You've got to keep going. And you must, don't let anything slip through the net. Go and view everything that you think is a contender. And don't forget my advice about where properties have been on the market a long time without selling, like 3 months, especially 6 months or longer. You can look at properties that are perhaps you might have thought were outside your budget. Go and see them. Right? Persistence. Keep viewing. You might have to offer on 20 properties until you get accepted. You might have to view more than that. You might have to view 40 properties, offer on 20. Finally, one gets accepted. But the mistake that most of you make is you're not as prepared as you could be. And I know this. I know this is the truth. You are not going out there prepared to make your offer and show that you are more prepared to proceed faster than other buyers. A lot of you aren't doing that. All right. And when you don't do that, you're leaving the chance on the table of you getting that property. What if you had offered your maximum comfortable price with your email offer template, with everything lined up in that, just to make it super easy for the agent to forward onto the seller and go, look, this is a gold-plated offer. They don't come better than this. I know it's lower than you wanted, but the other offers are all flaking and they take months. This buy can complete within a few weeks. And Nikki Kerr saying, put in low offers and find a highly motivated vendor. You don't put in low offers if you're trying to find, if you find a home that you really want, you put in your maximum comfortable price always, right? If it's a home, not an investment, if it's a home and you want to live in it, but your maximum comfortable price must take into account stuff like this, right? What does it mean if Britain is heading for economic catastrophe? What does that do to the price that you're willing to pay? Because you shouldn't ignore this, right? You shouldn't look at news like headlines like this and other things from The Guardian and from The Times, all talking about the economic difficulties that the UK is getting into, and think, oh, well, it doesn't affect my ability to afford a house. Perhaps it doesn't affect it right now. But what about 5 years from now? What about what's going to happen to your job? What's going to happen to the economy? What's going to happen to house prices in 5 years? Take all these things into account. Right, a couple of questions. Oh, Deborah, there was no slurp, I'm afraid. It's cold water tonight. Because it really is unbearably hot. So do we have any questions on this? And I hope this is quite a short ramble for a change, 13 minutes. Let's take a couple of questions. And then I'm going to get on to the new build stuff I talked about earlier. Josh, says, what are your opinions on agents who ask sellers to host viewings? Generally speaking, I find that to be a red flag from an agent. Not always. There are occasionally times when it makes sense or when it's justifiable. But generally speaking, you want an agent doing the viewings for you. All right? It's not a question of just open the door, letting the buyer look around. A really, really good agent will qualify the buyers properly and will manage expectations during the viewing. And it's as valuable to have an agent tell you that a buyer was a waste of time as it is to have an agent tell you that a buyer's, oh my God, that's a great buyer and we're going to qualify them well. So generally speaking, I would always want my agent to do the viewings selling a property. Okay, Naida. So Naida Afzal says, I put offers on and someone always puts higher offer. Right. Purple crying face. Naida, are you offering with, does your offer include proof of your deposit funds, a mortgage in principle, a credit checked mortgage in principle with a lender's name on it I'm talking about, the fact that your conveyancer is appointed and has already cleared your source of deposit funds, and the fact that you will pay for, you will buy your property search pack as soon as the offer is accepted? Does it include all four of those things in an email? Because if not, you might have had some of your offers accepted. Okay. It might just be that people are overpaying, and that does happen. But that's why, if you're consistently being outbid and you're not doing offers as I teach, and let me just remind everyone what the URL is for this. Here it is in the live chat. Right, first time buyer offer email template, or just search MHWC offer email template and you'll find it. Anyone who's offering just by saying, oh, we want to offer this much, and is consistently being outbid or having your offer rejected, you're wasting your time even going on the viewings if you're making offers like that. Okay, even if it's a cash offer, it's the same thing, right? If you're offering with cash, you still need to prove that your source of funds has been approved by a conveyancer. Okay. And here is the template for cash buyers as well. So Naid, if you haven't seen this, here it is. Okay. So showing that you've got a conveyancer lined up and an email from the conveyancer confirming that they've approved your source of funds. These are things that you can do if you're making offers. And if you're not doing them, that's why you're being outbid. Deborah Rose asks, what's the search pack? So the property search pack, I'm going to give you a link to the video about it. I'll give you everything you never wanted to know about property search packs. Okay, there's a video, link to a video right there. A search pack is an information pack on a property that all mortgage lenders require before they will approve a mortgage for a property. And it includes things like a hazard check, an environmental check, a climate risk check, a flood risk check, and a local council search. And unnecessary delays in the ordering of those search packs and then in the communication to you of a problem of those search pack by your conveyancer is one of the number one reasons for unnecessary delays that causes chains to collapse and deals to fall through. Mark Jones says, is it considered bad practice to inquire on or make an offer on a house that's already accepted an offer, but it is still subject to contract? That's a very good question. Kind of depends on the timing. It depends, if the offer was just accepted a week ago, estate agents are legally required to put all serious offers forward. So, they can't stop you. Whether or not they put your offer forward to the seller, they're legally required to. Whether or not they do, you should get approval if they have. But the seller's never going to mind, right? If they get a higher offer come in. And if it's a property that you really, really want and the offer you're making is a genuine and sincere offer and you mean it, sometimes what will happen is the agent will say, no, look, the seller's accepted their offer. They're proceeding with the buyer. But if it doesn't work out, we'll come back to you. And that does happen quite a lot. Remember that 1 in 3, on average, roughly speaking, 1 in 3 agreed sales does fall through. And so you've got a 1 in 3 chance, even if that offer has been accepted on a house that you like, on being able to step in if that offer falls through. So, in terms of good practice, the way to approach it is to call the agent and say, am I too late? Have I missed out on that property? Okay. How well is the deal going through? Is it at an advanced stage or is it at an early stage? How solid do you think it is? Is it worth me putting in another offer now? Just have a conversation with the agent and find out. But don't not offer if it's a house you really love. Right. Okay. Now I want to talk about this video that went viral on X today. Where now? Okay, hang on a second. I'll just share this with you. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear the audio. Last time I tried to share, you couldn't hear the audio. Can you hear?
We're snagging Taylor Wimpey, and this site gets 1 star from us. This house completed today.
So this is a Taylor Wimpey home. This is the day of completion, and the snagging report went round to be done on the day of completion. So here it is.
We're snagging Taylor Wimpey, and this site gets 1 star from us. This house completed today, and instead of a ribbon on the front door, we're greeted with rubbish all over the front lawn. The roofer has left nails in the gutters. The ridge towel union clips weren't secure. There's damaged bricks and blocked wheat vents around the front door, and there wasn't any visual signs they've installed a double damp-proof course. We noticed by eye that the brickwork wasn't flat, the grass has been laid over building debris, and there was no sign of any topsoil. They've only got a small section of an A-code drain which will do no good for this section where the driveway leans towards the house. And the mastic seal under the patio door wasn't great. It's been the case with most of the Taylor Wimpey houses we've inspected recently that the kitchen is rife with mould under the units. And in this kitchen, they didn't even install the unit legs properly. And there's moisture tracking down the water mains pipe. They've not secured the system to the wall. We're assuming that they were aware the shower mixer was leaking due to them putting a kitchen towel underneath it. The window boards weren't level, and the finish to them wasn't great either. Several radiators weren't filling, the bedroom flooring wasn't level so the doors are catching, and as usual, the spindles weren't plumbed.
Unreal. So I had a few questions on X. And by the way, if you don't follow me on X, that's where I post the most about the housing market and about stories affecting the housing market. Just search Moving Home with Charlie on X, you'll find me. So this is what I would do. If I were buying a new build, let's just put to one side people's strong opinions about whether you should or whether you shouldn't, okay? Unfortunately, people need to buy homes, and sometimes new homes are the only ones on offer. But in the spirit of not overpaying, again, being patient, basically there are 2 extra things I would do, actually 3 extra things I would do if I were buying a new build. Number 1, I would do my best to find a second-hand home that is the home that I would buy in that area if there wasn't a new build home for sale. So that I could say to the people selling the new build home, I've got my eye on this other home, right? It's not new, it's second-hand, that's home. And at a price that makes theirs look expensive, okay? I would try and have an alternative to negotiate with because they are real hardcore negotiators, these guys. And you've got to be able to, because if they believe that you might not buy it, they're more likely to give you a better price. And this is the reason for having that other alternative. Or could be another new build, but always have another up your sleeve so you can negotiate, okay? They will not drop the price for you if they don't believe that you can actually and might actually negotiate again by yourself. I once did this for someone a long, long time ago, 30 years ago. They said that there was a member of my family, they wanted to get a new car. They were buying it cash from a dealer. They had a spec, and they said, would I sort it out for them? And I just rang 2 dealers and said, this is the spec I want, this is the spec I want. And I said to them, well, they've given me that price. No, well, they've given me that price. And I got them, but both dealers came. I said, it's a cash purchase. It's an immediate cash purchase as soon as we've agreed a price. And in the end, I got one who said, I'm doing this deal for 50 quid over trade price just to hit my numbers for the month. Whereas if you walk in there without a credible alternative to bid on, they will know. And they know you want a home. And they're just going to say, oh, I'm really sorry, that's the price. Sign here. Okay? So that's the first thing is I would, because of the premiums on new builds, because they are thieving bastards who price collude and price fix and overprice their new homes, I would only buy one if I really felt I'd got a good deal. And they will negotiate no matter what they say. They'll tell you that they won't negotiate. They'll tell you that they can't negotiate. They'll tell you they can't do this. They do it all day, every day until they can look you in the eye and really look and sound honest, right? But they will negotiate if they don't have another buyer for that house that you want to buy. They will negotiate. And right now, they're having a really shit time. So it's a better time than ever to negotiate on a new build. So that's the first thing, right? Negotiate a really good price. Make sure you're not overpaying. Make sure you're not just filling their profit. They'll still make a profit. They've got to make a profit, of course, but not an insane and obscene profit. And the second thing you do is say, and it depends on what stage the build is at, but First things first, your offer is subject to a snagging report to be done at the earliest opportunity with the property. And you're going to need 2 snagging reports if you follow my suggestion. The first one gets done when the basic construction of the house is finished, and it's so that the snagging person can check. I mean, the kind of mistakes that they make in some of these new builds is unbelievable. The flooring is the wrong level. The ventilation breaks, the damp course is the wrong level. These are fundamental construction nightmares, not just minor snagging things, major issues. So you want a snagging report done just before you exchange, because they want you to exchange really early on, okay? And you don't want to exchange unless you're sure the property you're buying doesn't have major structural problems, okay? So your first snagging report gets done before exchange at the point. Now, there might be times when the timing doesn't work out for this, but the point is you don't want to be committed to a shabby, shoddy property. And the second snagging report should be the day before completion, or maybe a week before, whatever it might be. But whenever they say it's ready, we've completed the work on the house, it's ready for you to move in, it's ready to complete. Then you want the snagging person to go around again and say, I'm not going to complete unless it passes the snagging check. Now, there might be very, very minor things. They say, look, we'll fix that, we'll fix that. But the trouble is that once you've completed, there is no urgency for them to fix those things. None. They've got you. You've signed. They've got your money. You've completed. Yeah, they'll get around to it eventually, but only if you nag them. And it's a nightmare. And I know horror stories of people who've been left in houses for years with major problems and nobody fixed them. Horror stories. Do not complete on a new build that has known snagging problems with it. Okay? And finally, and you need to talk to your conveyancer about this, if you exchange contracts on a property that's not yet completed its build, something I would never do, by the way, but if you can exchange contracts before the completion, then you need a clause in the contract that allows you to undo the exchange and back out of the deal if there are structural issues. The guarantee doesn't cut it. Now, that may or may not be acceptable to the builder selling the house, or the lawyer. Have to check with them. But that's what I'd do. I'd say I'm not exchanging or anything unless I know it's legit and properly done. And if I am, then there's a clause in the contract that says I can get out of it if you don't deliver a saleable product. All right. Kira Brennan says, hi, Charlie. Can you go through what happens when you get your survey done? Should you be walking around with them when they do this? Is it worth getting level 3 on a Victorian property? So, generally speaking, surveyors will go on their own to a property without you, and you shouldn't be there. I know of situations where buyers and sellers have attended surveys and got into conversations that have derailed the whole sale over nothing. You don't need to be there. Yes, it is worth getting a level 3 on a Victorian property, in my view. I wouldn't cut corners on a one-off survey. I wouldn't try and save a few £100 on a one-off survey when I was buying a property. And by the way, I've got good news, guys. Tomorrow night, Stiggy will be on the channel. We'll be doing a bit of a State of the Nation chat Monday evening, 8 p.m. on all the channels. And for those of you who are new here, you're in for a treat. Housing Stig, also known as Alex Groundwater, a very, very popular guest on my channel. Usually swears and turns the air blue, but it's very entertaining as well as very informative. And I actually saw him today, caught up with him, haven't seen him for ages. Couldn't do a live stream with him today in person, but he'll be on the line tomorrow night with me, 8 o'clock Monday evening. All right, guys. Richard L says, you're right, Charlie, the new homes building, the NHBC warranty is not worth the paper it's written on. Guys, I'm going to call it there. I would like to say a welcome to all my new followers on X. 730 people watching on X right now. All the comments are from YouTubers though. Come on, X guys, say hi. It'd be lovely to have one person on X say hi. I hope you've had a lovely evening. If you are new here and you want to get the best of my advice on moving house, hang on a second. Stop that there. I can never find the newsletter one. There it is. Get my weekly free newsletter. The URL is there, mhwc.co.uk/newsletter. I do all of these live streams go out on audio podcast immediately after the live stream. You can listen on Apple or on Spotify. Just look for Moving Home with Charlie. But if you're new here and you're buying or selling or both, look up Charlie's 10 golden rules for buyers, Charlie's 10 golden rules for sellers. Each one of those is about 20 minutes long, and it's got about 10 rules in each one. It's got 10 rules on each one, with about 2 minutes on each rule. And that's the most condensed. If you're watching on X, links to those videos are pinned to my profile. If you're watching anywhere else, just search Charlie's 10 golden rules for home buyers or home sellers. And please don't ignore any advice I give. Okay. I know what I'm talking about. Been doing this a long time, been working behind the scenes of estate agencies as a supplier of technology to them for a very long time. Big, small companies, corporations, one-man bands, London, Mayfair, Liverpool, Glass, all over the country for 25, nearly 30 years. And there is nothing I don't know about how estate agents work. So if you think you know better than me, I can assure you, you don't. On that happy note, guys, have a happy Sunday. And I'll see you